Hey everybody, Cynthia here from Junk Journal Art Company. Hope you're all having a great 2022 so far. I'm just back with another installment of the Dephemerember series that was started by 49 Dragonflies and Louisa Heinzel. So for number 4, I do have to say I feel like a little bit of a sellout because when it said gold and silver, I used metallics but not too much. And then it also said tickets, and so I got out some vintage tickets. I have Tim Holtz Wallflowers paper that I really like, and so I cut up some of those little journal cards that they've got in there, and had some sparkly glitter gold washi tape, and then also attached some vintage. These are actual vintage tickets, like transportation tickets, to that. So they're just simple journal cards that you can journal on the backside of. So yeah, that was my number. That was my number 4, and stay tuned for my number 5. I'll be right back. I am back with number 5 from the Dephemerember challenge, and these are my coffee/button card. Now, what I decided to do is make these make belly bands for the journal that I'm making all of these for. I want to do a nature-inspired journal. So this I'm just showing you some of the materials. I have some small mother of pearl buttons. There's my coffee stained paper. I had some string there. And so what I decided to use was some strips. This is like leftover from the journal cards that I made for number 4. And I thought they were a nice size for belly bands. And then I cut down my coffee dyed paper into strips that would fit on the top. I also decided to use some more of those shiny stickers that you might remember from my Woodland Fairy seed packets, and I picked out some of the fronds that were fairly thin because I want them to fit on this small strip of paper. These strips of paper are only an inch wide, so I picked some that were fairly thin. I wasn't sure which ones I wanted to go with, but I did want them to sort of fit in with the overall design of that Tim Holtz paper. And I do believe these are the ones that I decided to go with on this second card. They are just ever so slightly too wide, but that's okay. We're going to make that one work. All right, so those will actually be the background to where I put the buttons. Now the little shell, I'm showing you here how I'm probably going to have them laid out. Now the little shell buttons that I use are going to rest on little tiny squares of batik fabric, kind of tie-dye batik fabric. These are just some scraps that I got in a big bundle of little square. They're already cut into these little squares, and so yeah, right here I'm just trying to figure out, which little square I want to use, which one I like the best. I think I decided against the pink. And the one that I liked the best was this fairly mottled looking one. So the buttons that I'm going to use are little tiny 2-hole mother of pearl buttons. And they're just going to sit on top of a small square of that fabric. Now to make the squares here, I just folded over a corner so that I can kind of have a straight line there, although I'm not that picky about it. You know how I feel about that. I love it. I love handcrafted things because they actually look handcrafted. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting out the little squares to go behind each of those buttons. Seeing if that button will fit on there. I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think I decided not to use that little piece, and I cut some more. There's going to be 4 buttons on this project, so I think I decided just to cut 4 kind of good-sized pieces. There we go. So now I've got 4 little squares of fabric that I'm going to put the buttons on. There we go. Now the next thing is to pick out the actual buttons I want to use. These buttons are fantastic. I love them. I love the front side. But what I really wanted to use on these cards were some that had a lot of that raw shell on the back. And there aren't really too many of them, as you can see. So I've got a handful out on the desk right now. But I'm going to get out my little ephemera carrier thing. This is my little compartmented box where I've got some of my favorite ephemera, my book corners, and some brads and charms and eyelets and things like that. Picking out some good grungy buttons. All right, we're ready to go. I'm also going to be cutting out, this is going to be part of the little mini collage that's in the center of the belly band button card, I guess I should call it. So yeah, I think this came in a Tim Holtz, like one of those ephemera packs that you buy. So I'm just cutting out one of those little labels. And here I'm just going to try to decide what sort of lace I want to put down the center of that belly band. I kind of thought about using the same lace as the first one, but I didn't really like it with that background. So I have a lot of seam binding ribbon and lace. A lot of it I've tea stained. So yeah, I think I decided on this nice kind of sagey green color to go up the center of my belly band. I am going to use my art glitter glue to attach that. I do have some Fabri-Tac, but sometimes it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't like to come out, and then it kind of makes a mess. I'm not saying anything bad about Fabri-Tac. I think it is absolutely an amazing adhesive, but at this point in time, I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to go with the art glitter glue, and I just lay that down real carefully, trying not to stretch it, because a lot of times these seam binding ribbons and lace kind of have a little bit of a give to them, and I didn't want to stretch that design out, and then it lays kind of weird after the glue dries. So there we are, just trimming off the ends, and I always keep all these little remnants to use in other things. Alrighty. There we go. Got my backing lace down. Now we're going to work on getting our stickers onto that coffee dyed paper. Now, just testing the layout here one more time to see how much of that sticker I want to chop off, because I am going to take off just the bottom few leaves, just to relieve some of the bulk. Otherwise the sticker would be kind of stuck down over top of each other, and so So yeah, there we go. And these, again, you know that these stickers are very difficult to get the backing off of. So I did do a nice cut here. Just so you know, it takes a while, at least for me. But they didn't give me too much trouble today. But enough that I did take some of it. I made a little bit of an edit so that it's not there anymore. Alrighty, I get those centered, nice and centered. And here's the second one. I even sped this one up because it took so long. There we go. And then I took my favorite little scissors from Dollar Tree and I just snipped off just a couple of, it's just the clear ends, like the leaves themselves actually fit on that center piece, but the actual sticker didn't. So there's just some little sticky clear stuff sticking off of the end. So just clean that up just a little bit. Now we're going to get to work on the little mini collage that will rest at the very center. Taking some more of that same lace for the bottom layer. There we go. And a little scrap of fabric. This is a little scrap of fabric from the first one that I made. Just another little layer. And then I do have a collection of just little scraps of paper that are sort of the inside of security envelopes. And I just like having little scraps of that around. They're just kind of interesting patterns and such. And there's another little, I think this is a moth that I fussy cut out of an encyclopedia. So I think, what do I do next? Oh yeah, I get out my very favorite fern green archival ink, and I need to ink some stuff up here. I sort of forgot to ink this middle part up. Usually I would do this before I put the stickers down, but hey, there you go. It's handmade, not perfect. So there we are, inking everything up. And now I'm going to layer that little collage again. Get those layers on. I'll probably not even layer it the same as I did the first time, but that's okay. There we are. The little scrap of fabric goes next. And then, yeah, see, I think I'm changing my mind here as we go. Just kind of playing around with the layout. There we are. And then that little moth right on top. I'm going to attach all of those together with my mini attacher. Right in the middle, through everything. And then that's going to get glued right down into the center of that. I do believe this time I decided to glue this onto the substrate first. So yeah, here comes the gluing part. Some more of my art glitter glue. Just sped it up so you don't have to sit and watch, like basically watch paint dry. And the little mini collage right in the center. Okay, so now it's time to put the buttons on. So I take one of those short strands of thread. Now how I made these strands of thread is I took a craft string whole skein and I just chopped the rounded ends off of the whole skein. And so what I've got is a whole bundle of just threads that are the right size for attaching ephemera onto things. A nice sharp embroidery needle that'll fit through the holes on those buttons. So I take it through the back up through the front. I just tie a square knot to secure it. And sometimes I do leave the strings hanging. Sometimes I like them to be just flopping around there. This time I decided I would cut them a little bit short. So I cut them to about 1/2 inch or so. There we go. And then I just use my art glitter glue to glue that entire little component right onto the backing. Now this is a little bit of a craft with me. I do sort of speed things up now as I put the other buttons on, which isn't really a craft with me, but you can see what I did, and now we're just gonna zip right through those other ones. And if you are doing a craft with me, you can just pause it right here. There's the second one. On to the third. And finally, the fourth one. And there we are. I do believe the last thing that I need to do is to distress the outside edge with my fern green archival ink. And there we are, folks. I hope you enjoyed that project. It doesn't take long to do, and I really liked how it turned out. So I hope you'll join me again for another one of these Dephemerember installments. And once again, this is Cynthia St. Anne from Junk Journal Art Company. And I hope you're having a great day. Please like, comment, subscribe. And I hope to see you right back here. Thanks, everybody. Bye.